In the following video, we will see a simple scheduling control system configured using OpenKM. We'll use another window to use a different browser to log in as another user. When we do, the system will automatically create a folder structure with a file inside. In here, we will see the date and time in which the user has logged in. In this way, the user automatically saves the date and time that the user logs into the system. Now we will log out and return to the first browser. Here, as the administrator, we can look at the log to see how the information has been recorded. We can access this information from the classic interface shown here, or even the mobile interface. When we view the file, we will see we have starting and ending times, so the ending time is when we just logged out in the other browser. To download the time control function, we will go to the OpenKM GitHub repository and find the time control project here. I select it, and when the page loads, we can scroll down to see the instructions for configuring this control system in OpenKM. The first step, as we see here, is to upload the control time HTML document to OKM templates in the system. We can find the file by scrolling up and going through the main and then resources folder. Once the document is downloaded, it must be uploaded to the templates section of OpenKM, as we see here. In the instance we see here, no further steps have been performed, so we can continue with the explanation. The next step is to execute this query in OpenKM, substituting the correct UUID. We copy the text, and then we go to the administration of OpenKM. And then we paste it in the database query section, and next we'll need to find the UUID. The UUID we need is specifically found in the Properties tab of the control time HTML file. So we copy that to the clipboard, and then go to the database query and paste that over the your control time file UUID text. We also need to run a very similar database query with the UUID of a control time folder that must be created in the system. As we can see here. If both the file and the folder exist at the same time, it is also possible to run both of these queries simultaneously. It is important to make sure that the folder does exist. We will create it now. And then we can find its UUID and substitute it into the text back in the database query. We can also run this next query with the first two, so we will copy it as well. Now it is important to go to Type and select JDBC, and now we can execute our query, and we see that all three of them were successful. Now we have a new document to download, the time control jar file. We scroll up and find the releases area, and here we can scroll down to find the Time Control 1.0 jar file. With the file copied, I navigate to the location where I have the application installed. This example uses a Linux machine. However, in the case of a Windows computer, the procedure would be the same. We get a list of the folders with the OpenKM installation and locate the plugins folder, which is where we will need to upload the jar file. Once it is in the folder, we verify to make sure that it was successfully added to the folder. This process allows actions to be available from the automations functionality. The next step is to restart OpenKM, which will not be shown in this video, but all that is needed is to stop and start the application. The last step is to register the automation rules that will track the time on login and logout. Back in the administration, we navigate to the Automations tab, and now we'll create a new automation. We will name this automation Time Control at Login. The event will be User Login, and the @ will be Post. We set it to Active and Create. So currently, this automation will activate after a user logs in, and now we will go and say Add Action Time Control, and activate that as well. We now do a very similar process to control the logout time. Here we will have the time control at logout automation, and then the event will be logout, and then the @ will be pre. Then we make sure it is active, and once it is created, we go back into the definitions and add the time control action and make sure that is active as well, and with an order of 1. With the process complete, we can now log out and log in and see the same file that we displayed at the beginning of the video will now be generated in this instance of OpenKM. This will conclude our video on time control in OpenKM.